voices amplified. earGROUND.
The king is back, and it's earGROUND. New voices amplified, but I'm not having a new voice. I'm having a legend. Legend. This is a Zim hip hop ambassador, NABOTH RIZLA. He's done so much for the game. If you're in the game, you should know RIZLA by now. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me, man. It's so good to be here, man. Finally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been forever, man. It's been forever because I had to go through your PA and wait in the line, from months.
Hey, Jack.
Yeah, man.
Finally,
How is
we're
one?
here.
I understand you're best in Wange at the moment. How is Wange? How is Wange
Yeah, I've been in Wange for a few months now. It's actually raining as I speak to you. I hope you can hear the rain. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
just
it's not as hot as it should be. Usually, it's very hot out here, man. You think
yeah,
we're closest to the sun or something. It's crazy out here. But yeah,
yeah.
just taking it a day at a time.
All right, nice. Maybe to start off with, let's give some homage to the king of hip hop, the late Kelvin. Maybe with your experience, maybe if you can just speak a bit about Kelvin for a few seconds, what would you say?
Yeah, man, he was an artist way beyond his time, man. He was Gachana,
Yeah,
and he was very hardworking, man. I don't think I've ever seen anyone who's so focused, and someone who knows what he wants. The
yeah,
biggest problem we have sometimes is that we chase fame and just wanting to be seen without an actual plan and without passion. He
yeah,
knew what he wanted to do, and every time linking up with him was always all about knowledge, man. Just exchanging notes. We argued most of the time because he had his ideas of how things should be done. I had my ideas of how
yeah,
things should be done. And usually, it's all about growth at the end and progress. When
yeah,
what have you done? Where am I at and what am I doing? So it's such a huge loss because his catalog, his work ethic, his mind, just where he was at and what he wanted for Bulawayo, what he wanted for the game was just something that I feel we are still yet to realize because he was as real as it gets. He wasn't a
yeah,
person that hides behind and he was straight up. I think that's why we feel like we know so much about him because
yeah,
we go to social media. If you talk to him, everyone is like family to him. So yeah, ish man, it's just a loss. It's just a loss. It's a huge loss,
yeah,
and I
man.
feel I feel it's going to take us a while for us to actually understand what we've lost. Some people are just embracing it now, but they don't know exactly what have they lost. This
Yeah,
guy was so organized. He had a website way before most people even knew the benefits of having a website. He was doing his own videos because he couldn't wait on anyone. He ended up being a producer because he couldn't wait on people. He had to
yeah,
get stuff done and get it out of the way. I remember being in street corners by CBD in town, Goblawa, you're selling your own CDs.
yeah,
That's how hungry he was to get things done. He didn't have to wait on anyone.
yeah,
So Kelvin will always be that artist that made me not look stupid because when we told people that we've got talent here that can measure up to any huge artist in the world, they thought I was crazy. Like I told them, nah, we've got artists that are just as good as 50 Cent. The only problem is we don't have a system to back up our talent. We just don't have the money and the support to back up the system, to back up the talent, to back up the artist that is there. But he was there. So when finally someone like Casper got to say that to these people that were not believing, it was such a hurrah moment, like I told you so. Like you guys
yeah,
would make me look stupid. We told people we were going to build our own platforms. We're tired of waiting on other people to put us on their websites. We built our own websites. We're tired
yeah,
of people or being on their podcasts, trying to be on their newspapers, trying to be on their platforms. We built our own to an extent that you can't ignore. They try to ignore, but we got to that level where, it just had to be done.
Yeah.
So shout out to him, and rest in peace to him. A lot of people now are enjoying this whole blogging thing. They are now enjoying this whole production. They're now enjoying a lot of the fruits of what sweat and going against the grain and being called names has culminated to. But
Yeah.
when he was alive, a lot of people used to ridicule him because they couldn't understand the king.
Yeah.
So I could say I could talk all day, man, because
Yeah.
he has done so much for Bulawayo, so much for Zimbabwe, and he refused to leave Bulawayo when he got so many chances to leave and start a new life in South Africa, States, UK. You could have started his life anyway. So for him to stay in Luveve and say, this is where I'm going to make it and contribute to the country was very huge. I don't know many people that could actually take in what he took in and still stand firm and say, I'm going to go through with this and I'm going to do it. Worse when you're in Bulawayo.
Yeah.
So he gets my props any day, man. It was
Ah,
nice. It was really
yeah.
amazing to have known him in my lifetime.
Nice, nice. May he so rest in peace. And one thing for sure that I witnessed with Kelvin was that he was a dreamer.
Yeah,
He never thought anything impossible. If he puts
yeah,
his mind to it, it doesn't matter whether you think he's making progress or not. He will
yeah,
still call himself whatever he decided to call himself and still pursue that dream.
yeah. He came to the flat the one time, and we were watching Made in America. You know, the whole concept was Jay-Z has got a festival, right?
Yeah.
He's an artist who's got this huge festival that celebrates other artists, and it's bringing in income and also keeping his legacy intact. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Then next thing you have Made in Bulawayo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he didn't see it as impossible to do, but he saw the idea as in we need to own our platforms, and we can't wait on these promoters that are already shortchanging us. It's no secret that he used to speak against it. Promoters were the biggest problem go in his growth. They never used to give him the props that he deserves, money wise.
Yeah.
He was one energetic performer on stage,
Yeah.
and he was one prepared person. When you're saying prepared, he's ready, he's there, he's going to rock a stage. But then you now want to pay other people coming from another area better than the people that are in a particular area and stuff. So that's the reason why at the end of the day, people end up trying to look north, trying to go to Harare, because that's where we feel sometimes we're appreciated more. And they pay, and they will really take care of your accommodation and stuff like that. But right here, go Bulawayo and stuff, it's a hassle. It's always been. The promoters here will actually talk with the so-called other promoters that will bring in artists to say, Alaba, you can give him $100, can give him $50, you know.
Yeah.
Yet the other guys are getting paid $500, and he's
Yeah.
worth that $500.
Mm. Yeah.
So I know a couple of incidents and stuff, but it just feels like people downplay each other in the city,
Yeah.
yet that really has got no growth. It's got no growth. It doesn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
So in Bulawayo, I hope it's going to carry on and build that legacy that you always wanted, a platform for artists and a platform for respect as well, and great talent to showcase, man.
Yeah. 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 Nice. 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 May he so rest in peace. Coming back to NABOTH RIZLA. Let's go
Yeah.
back to Chabalala, man. Let's go back to Chabalala. This
Yeah,
that is
man, you can look at the
place
files.
that 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 groomed you. This is where you started to dream. This is where you started to have your first injuries. This is where you started to have your first wins again. So maybe let's talk about Chabalala. How do you remember your childhood?
Yeah, man, it was all just we grew up in the ghetto, man. We grew up in Lokshini. I grew up with my grandfather and grandmother, my grandparents. My mom had just gotten a job, teacher, so she was always back and forth. So yeah, and my mother's young sister, my nini, my mama mncane, that's like my mom for real, like, you know.
Yeah.
So it was like an extended family of sorts, but it was quite dope, man, because that's where I started playing soccer. If there's anything that I thought I was going to do, was play soccer. I was that guy that was always outside, studying
But
bora, and stuff,
yeah.
you know, and, and obviously interacting with other people. Most people wouldn't even know that I was Shona or whatnot, because at the end of the day, it was just Bulawayo, and we're speaking whatever we're speaking to communicate with everyone else and just have fun. You know, you make do with the toys, or you create toys, you make
Choice. Yeah.
toys, you make memories for yourselves as well. You know, driving whatever you could drive, be it you are the one in the wheel and the wheel is being pushed by somebody else. Bricks, you're playing with bricks. What else did we play with, man? Oh, Mom 25 and all those other things. It was
Yeah.
just the hood, and it was where you felt like you were home. You know, no one used to judge anyone for anything, and that's where obviously being able to interact with people started, and my love for Bulawayo and my love for Ipos, obviously.
Yeah.
You can't love Bulawayo without
Encourage.
Nyenkani for sure, man. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's those things that later on in life you look back and you're like, okay, so that's why my creative process came about. My
Yeah.
don't give up mentality. This is where it came from, you
Yeah.
know,
All right.
and this is where my love for Bulawayo came from as well.
Yeah. Then maybe I'll divert a bit and
Yeah,
talk about the fact that you mentioned that it wasn't recognized that you're Shona. And
yeah,
also in Zimbabwe, one of the things that we have at the moment is a problem with tribalism, which is something that I try to address on different platforms that I find in. Uh, Although I think out there, I think I'm misunderstood on this subject. Uh, uh, yeah. But so I was telling someone that if you are Shona and grew up in Bulawayo, you are not Shona, because most of the times it's the place that you grew up in that gets to build your culture, to build your aspirations. I know many Shona people in courts. They are Shona because they have a Shona surname, who
yeah,
grew up in Bulawayo, but who identify with Bulawayo so much that when you're being told that he's Shona, it's actually no, but they're now lying. You know,
yeah,
it's not like. But I think that people who then find a problem, maybe are people who then try to integrate later, because when they come, they are not open to learning Debele, for example. Now the city is forced to learn and speak to you in Shona, which I think is the problem. If all of us could try and learn bits and pieces of each other's language, and let's communicate with our languages, not with the language.
yeah. That's true. I think it's an attitude more than anything, really. If you don't have togetherness in you, you'll always see blocks, you'll always see race, you'll always see fences. You know, when you're a kid, you don't even know what language you're
So,
speaking. Like
yeah,
like you can't tell the difference. You are just communicating, say, yo, bra, ngicela ibhora lela, sami sidlala ibhora. You know,
yeah,
kids, they I don't know how they do it, but they just communicate. If we could get to that platform or get to that stage where we just see ourselves as people just trying to communicate and use whatever tools we can, you know, to just communicate, then all this that we're already labeling with certain words and phrases and whatnot won't be there. It will just
yeah,
be about having fun. You know what I mean? Because now, if you're going to look at my surname and then decide whether or not I'm a Bulawayo person, it's going to stop me from really expressing myself the way I should. Because now I'm stuck. I
yeah.
mean, if you guys can't take
Stuck
me
on
as
the
one from
identity now.
Bulawayo, the guys in Harare definitely won't take me because I was born in
Now,
in
yeah,
in Bulawayo.
yeah,
Ngazalelwa eMpilo sibili.
yeah.
BF right next to Soweto. Right next to Emagumeni. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So Ncadi Zanlahla then ngihamba ngaphi?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's
The
the
identity
constant problem that I
crisis.
always have because when I go to Harare, I don't know much Harare. Like I don't know much Harare. You
Yeah,
know, I only visit there when, probably every now and then and whatnot, but I've never really stayed in Harare. Born Goblawa. All my life I've been there. Not like visiting, no. All my life, like literally, I went to St. Pius, I went to Imaketen, Iskolo, Ngafunda. It becomes hard now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's all I know. That's the land, that's the place. You can put me anywhere in Bulawayo, I'll find my way home. You know what I mean? So I think Konaloko, the way we try and address things and whatnot, is just bad. Because if you are in an area like Katesa Minwangi, they speak a lot of Nyanja. Lami, you know, you get with the program.
Yeah.
You know, communicate. Don't try and isolate yourself and whatever. Learn and embrace it. Right now, I'm finding out there's a lot of hardcore Nambia rappers, there's Tonga rappers, and I'm thinking, man, Hip Hop 263, the next season is going to be crazy. Because I want to bring out all this Nyanja rap, this Tonga rap, Nambia, and their cultures and everything. It's diverse because Zimbabwe is so diverse anyway. So if we are going to stick to Ndebele Shona, we're going to miss a bunch. We're going to miss all the good stuff, you know. So let's just forget this black, white, Ndebele Shona T words and whatnot. Ah, man, at the end of the day, we all bleed. At the end of the day, let's just communicate for the sake of getting to the next point or getting something. Whether when uthandi i-Highlanders maybe uthandi Dynamos or whatnot, that's your special preference or whatnot. It's just choice. It doesn't mean I should hate you or whatnot. It's just what you feel, what you like. So even this whole idea then you don't want to learn a language, you don't want to be hard whatever type and whatnot. It doesn't get you anywhere, really. I mean, in Europe, is speaking French, is trying to speak English, no one laughs at them.
Yeah.
And they actually help them out. Like, yo, okay, he's trying to say this. But when you are here and you're speaking in Ndebele and trying to speak English, people laugh at you if you're breaking or you're not speaking it properly. Or if you're speaking Ndebele, trying to speak Shona, whatnot. And then when I'm now in the Shona side and my Shona is not so good, hatauri Shona chakadzama saka arikuda kuzviitisa whatnot, arikuda kuzviita Mudevere. Then I'm with my depth people and they feel a certain type of way. So what are we supposed to do now?
So I think we're failing to embrace our diversity and celebrate it. You know,
we need to celebrate.
I gave someone an example that in 2011 I was part of the team that was attending Umoja, Zimbabwe, where there was South Africa, Mozambique, and Norway. So I stood and watched South Africans talk, you know, and I was like, this is something that we need, you know. Those guys, I think there were 7 or 8 of them, they were using 4 languages and the conversation was going on. So I could only pick what they were talking about because I could understand. I think the guy is Nicholas Mutambo, who was speaking Zulu. He's from Sewoto, so he was speaking Zulu. So I could understand what they were talking about. Other guy was talking in Afrikaans, other guy was talking in Pedi, the other guy was talking Shupi Venda, and then the other guy was talking Zulu. And the conversation was flowing and they were laughing. You know, we are failing to celebrate our diversity and try to move on as a country. Apologies, we'll get that out of the way, but I think these are issues that we need to talk about. You know, these are issues that affect us every day, and sometimes they come at the game. You know, you're trying to do art, but because someone wants to identify you as something, wants to see you as something. Even in Asef addresses this in his song, like so. If you listen to that song, there's so much that he speaks about things that we need to meditate on, decipher, and try to make sure that you move forward as a unit that is diverse. I don't want to be identified as a Zimbabwean. I am Zimbabwean. I'm Ndebele. You are Zimbabwean. You are Shona. But let it not be a problem that you are Shona or Ndebele. Let's find a way of doing this thing together. Our diversity cannot be our point of divergence. Right.
That's true.
Sorry for preaching.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, it has affected some of our, like my life. It has affected. It's not like something that I'm new to. It's something that I go through every day when I'm doing my art or I'm doing my music. Someone will say, "Why are you playing the Shona songs and you're not playing Flower songs? Why are you playing this song?" And everyone always seems to have a point of view that has got a fence somewhere. Why are you playing American music? Why are you playing what? Everyone has always got a point, but can't we just embrace the diversity that we have and just showcase it, celebrate it, man, without really trying to burn bridges and whatnot? So yeah, I really appreciate that. Let's hope a lot of people will take that into consideration next time they're trying to find fault or trying to justify certain
Right.
things.
Yeah.
Good music is good music, man. A
Yeah.
good film is a good film. A great actor is a great actor. A legend is a legend. Kelvin is a legend, whether you like it or not, whether he's Shona or Ndebele or whatnot. He was just had too much skill. Let's not let it be just because he's from Bulawayo, we celebrate it more. No, let's celebrate it because he had skill, he had talent, but identify obviously where he's from and his background and appreciate that. Kupin, that's it.
Yeah. Right. From Chabalala, you then took off from Maketeni to Plumtree, Ebundu. This is where also you first interacted with your ciphering skills, your freestyling skills, like that. So how did this come about? Can you go?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get back to it. We moved from Chabalala, and then we diverted and ended up talking about some other stuff. But now we're back to you. And then you went to Plumtree High. This is where there is the genesis of your interest in hip hop. You're now immersing yourself in those ciphers and those freestyling. How did this come about, and what were the artists? Who were the artists at the time that were influencing your love for hip hop?
I think at that time I was about 16 when I really got into it. But from about 13 somewhere there, I remember when I was 12, is it 12 or 11? My uncle had one of those, camcorders and stuff, and I was reciting. I think it was the Fugees, one of my favorite songs, Ghetto Superstar. Whatever. Not even knowing that it was rap at the time. It was just one of those vibes. Then I got introduced to Lyrical Insane due to Zikwalima from Plumtree. He was one of my friends. He loved hip hop like crazy. And he used to listen to more Grave Diggers, more Wu-Tang and stuff. He was really into it because his brother kind of, baptized him with it. So he didn't have any other way to go. So because he was my friend and we got close, I ended up, just trying to find out and learn more about this whole culture and music. And that was so fascinating. And then I started getting Source magazines, Double XL and stuff like that. My background has always been reading because my mom is an English literature teacher. So a lot of, I love books. Even when I was growing up, I used to read a lot of books. So the next best book for me, which was interesting, was what Double XL Source magazine and stuff, trying to figure out what was happening with this culture. So before you know it, obviously freestyling is one of the first things you start doing. You start off as a fan, and then listening to both Dr. Dre, or Nas, your pocket money that you're getting, you're buying CDs and tapes at Express, at Spin Along, You know, you're making sure you've got your money there. And because I was at Plumtree, the border was right close. Francistown was real close. So I would go to Francistown to buy my Source magazines, Double XL, from the CMA shop, whatnot, their music there. And I used to spend. You know,
Yeah.
I was one person that used to spend on music and hip hop.
Yeah.
Sheesh, I spent a ton of money on there. And obviously, I fell in love with KRS-One. He was one of the, KRS-One. I was listening to a lot of Big L, but it was really Biggie that got to me with that whole East West Coast beef thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Jay-Z, I was more of the East Coast. You know, then eventually what Dre came in, Labo Snoop, Warren G, Nate Dogg, all that vibe, you know, and before, Rakim out here every now and then, NWA obviously every now and then, Public Enemy now and then, locally or in Africa it was more Prophets of the City. You're still trying to understand these guys, what are they talking about? What's this about and stuff? Or Mau Mau, Mischief, Metaphysics, Labo Outspoken. You know, those were the first
Yeah.
people that were really, I was getting tracks from here and there. And you're listening through the radio. For me, it was the radio. I couldn't sleep without earphones on, man. You know, so I was always listening to radio, listening to Peter Jones. He was like my favorite. Listening to Otis Fraser, listening to Funk Flex, DJ Clue, listening to Tim Westwood. That was where I was getting all this dose
Yeah.
and just fell in love. I wrote my first verse after listening to Ludacris. He was very theatrical. You can literally picture his music when he's spitting. I love that.
All right.
And that's how I figured 16
Yeah.
bars in. I just went on from then, bruh. It was
So
just
can you remember the 16 bars, the first 16 bars?
the first 16 bars. What did I write about, man? There was one verse that I wrote Kutala,
Yeah.
but it was quite complex because it wasn't a track. That wasn't a track though.
Yeah.
That was just one verse that just went a couple of pages too long.
Yeah.
At the time at school, we had this logo on our T-shirts about the last great scorer,
All right.
whatnot about the last great. So it went something like, "Last great scorer writes against my name. He writes not whether won or lost, but how I played the game. Because it's not about buying. It's about what? It's not about who's selling. It's about who's buying."
All right.
I can't even remember that, man. Ah,
Yeah. All right. And then you did from those ciphers and stuff like that, and then you did an EP which you produced.
yes. It was a compilation project we did with artists from Bulawayo. There's just so much talent go Bulawayo, bro. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe that I'm out here trying to rap and whatnot, and there's people that are actually rapping that are like dope. And I'm talking about Orthodox Six he was just off the chain, bruh. He was my version of who's this guy? Who's this guy in the States, man? What's his name? The name is now running away from me now. Who used to have these vivid bars. Meta, what was it? What was his name, man? He sounded like one of them Wu-Tang niggas. Okay, I'm forgetting his name. But yeah,
Yeah.
Orthodox really had the skills, Lord skills, VUKI, Vuki, Extreme Sanity with the poetry, with the rap. There was just so much talent. So my thing was, I was always arguing that our talent can actually measure up with American talent. So the only way to prove it is to put the Americans here and put the Zimbabweans here, and let's see who's gonna eat who. You know, if
Yeah.
we can spend the heat. So I sold the idea to Face the Music. He was called Tulani Nyashanu, Face, DJ Face. He had a studio already. I was already speaking to these guys because of the internet and stuff. I was already into computers by then. I spoke to these guys. They already in the States. So I
Yeah.
gave them this idea, like imagine Africa and America. It was called Texas to America. The CD was called Hip Hop is Timeless, because hip hop is timeless, man. So yeah, that's how that came about, man. Just that idea of trying to prove that Zimbabwean hip hop is at the same level as American hip hop. I've been trying to prove that from way back.
Yeah.
And yeah, that came out,
So
man.
back then, when you did that EP without a track to your name, how was the reception from the guys that you're working with in Zimbabwe and the guys that you then put together from States? Because the album eventually in 2005 had a CD compilation at the Zimbabwean and the American artists. How did this come about? How were you able to put these people together without an identity as an artist yourself?
Yeah, it was always a challenge because when it came to me making my own music, there was always something that was slowing down. It's either you go to the studio, something happens, and you're writing, and you have to go to school and whatnot. Because at that time I was also in college when I was putting this whole thing together. But then some way, somehow, I found out that when I was working on this project, I would always make time, and I'll always somehow find resources, even if
Yeah.
it meant going to my uncle's internet and whatnot, and maybe talking to people and making them understand or realize this dream that I was selling to them. It was
Yeah.
probably one of my strengths, even though they laughed at me. Initially, I'll be real with you, most of them laughed at me like, "Umuntu lo ubona zani thina siyalingana nabo 50 Cent," but I believed in them that much.
Yeah.
Like because I couldn't see the difference because I'm hearing these guys spit and I'm hearing these guys spit and I'm like, no, man. And worse off in Africa, you don't even have amazing resources as the resources they have in the States. But these
Yeah.
guys are so flawless, man. When you listen to bruh, Orthodox was just crazy. He was like my version of Immortal Technique, yes.
Yeah,
Orthodox,
Mortal Text. All
my
right.
version
Yeah.
of Immortal. I was like, sheesh, bruh, damn,
Yeah.
skills just crazy. So it obviously was impossible, hard, but I found a way to sell them the dream and make them understand this is what's there. Then when the CD did come, because I didn't have much experience of how to market it, and it was my first real project, I think also that kind of let me down because I didn't have anything to follow or to kind of copy and paste. And the
Okay.
guys
Yeah.
in the States were already calling for shows. They sent CDs with posters and all that, and trying to make these people here that I was working with understand. Like, I was young, I was younger than some of them,
Yeah.
and these guys have been in the game for long. So trying to get them to understand RIZLA, my idea, this and that, eventually, kwapho emoyeni somewhere somehow. We didn't
Yeah.
get. I think there was only one DJ, especially on Power FM, Utembelani, DJ Thames,
The
who
terms.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, Utembelani Moy. He's the one who was really playing those tracks, like on
Yeah.
Power FM, and it helped build the confidence for the other artists as well, for the artists that are being played. That listen, you can make it onto radio, you can make this and make something out of it. But these guys in the States, they're already on the billboards, they're living their life.
Yeah.
That's the sharp contrast about our system. We've got the same songs, we're on the same songs, but these guys in America, their life is just changing. Tina
Yeah.
were also played on radio, but our life is not going anywhere.
Going to change. Yeah. Yeah. It's actually funny because before the 75% local and whatnot,
Yeah,
uh, it was hard to get on radio, and now it's above 75%. It's still hard to get on
it's
radio.
still hard to get. Yes,
Yeah.
it's
So
still hard to get.
it's really a paradox. What's really happening? Yeah. But anyway, you moved from that. I thought maybe at this time you might think of a song of RIZLA, but no, you decided clothing. You thought about you did the grapevine clothing thing. How did this come about? What was the inspiration behind the
Okay.
grapevine clothing
So
line?
in between that transition, because obviously this project kind of slowed down a bit, and I thought, you know what, I need to be on the mic and do my thing. We managed to
Yeah.
get a deal with a record label in the States called Nomadic Works. We got like
All
a
right.
4 deal with them, and I was now with the crew called SKR, which was Spinks, Leroy Spinks Britain, the colored guy with the tattoos,
Yeah.
and myself, I was the R, RIZLA, then K was compositioner, the producer,
So,
right?
all
So
right.
we've actually got a whole album that we didn't release. We did
Yeah.
a couple of tracks, put them on radio, and because we're still growing, comp was also growing and stuff like that. somewhere, somehow, I wanted to come up with my own identity as an artist. That's where the idea came from, because I learned that image was everything. And I wanted people to remember me. Like when you see me, without seeing me properly, you already know who that is. So
Yeah.
obviously it came with the t-shirts, the grapevine t-shirts. Like you can see me, but without really seeing me, that, that's Riz. With the cap,
Yeah.
the GV, that's Riz from a mile away, you know. That was the idea with the whole clothing thing. Then somehow people started asking me, can't t-shirt yako phela how far inhle
Yeah.
uyithole ngaphi?" You know,
Yeah.
because it just this other the first design had a graffiti written grapevine, whatnot. And I just made more. I just decided to get a proper design done, and I just got 10 done. I sold them. I made more money than I've ever made doing other things, and that's how grapevine just took off. From then on, Lwazi Compo was just too vested in the business too much. Because if there's anyone who's business minded, it's gotta be Lwazi. Lwazi was in there, and eventually I showed him 50% of the business because he was just pouring in the money, and we were making T-shirts, man. I
Yeah.
had a tailor who was custom making stuff, was selling these things in rands. I bought a shelf company. you know,
Yeah.
we started being legit. We started doing promo stuff for companies now, like these AIDS NGOs and what, you know, NGOs pay, man. So
Yeah.
started making money. I was still at school. I started paying for my own school fees here and there. You know, yeah, we started, growing and getting our brands out there. But the whole idea with this whole thing and the whole idea with the grapevine, as we started sitting down and planning, was to use it to fund all our other musical endeavors. Because the
All right.
thing is, when you have an idea to say, I want to push hip hop, you need to go to the corporates or someone with a big bag, someone with money, to endorse you and enroll or give you that capital for you to do this crazy idea that they don't even understand, because hip hop was one of those things. So that was the whole idea, to say, let's do the t-shirts and whatnot. The extra money that we get from there, we then channel it into what we want to do and what we want to bring out. Because we always thought if we did quality items, we'll be global. We always wanted to go global with it, bro.
Yeah.
So that was the whole idea with it. So that's how Grapevine really played a central role and still does.
All right.
It's,
Nice.
it's, it's the cash
Nice.
cow, man.
Yeah, you definitely have some mad designs that I've seen. Yeah. And then while you're doing everything everything that you're saying you've been doing, you also did a lot of writing.
Yeah.
For different platforms. But I want to talk about the check that made your parents like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe we can support this thing. Maybe he's doing the right thing. So what happened with writing and who were you writing for that kind of gave you the belief or gave your family belief that, okay, this is something that you might as well support?
Right. So I come back home one day, and I've got a friend of mine. His name was Harvey Binam, right?
Yeah.
Harvey was a computer science student, right,
Yeah.
at NAST. The guy just decides, he's like, yo, bruh, we can make websites. You know, out the blue, he just decides, yo, we can make websites. So let's make a website, And I'm looking at this kid like, dude, what you mean, let's make a website? You don't just wake up, make a website and stuff. So I tell Loaz is like, yo, that's dope. So let's see what this guy can make. Next thing, this guy conjures up a website, whatnot. We get some money, we register it. The idea behind that was like, we've got T-shirts now. So what outlet can we use, which is hip hop, that we can put in people's faces and be able to sell our brand at the same time?
All right. Yeah.
Because we needed to make it make sense. But then people are not just going to come to the website and there's no stories or anything that's there. That's when the writing started. So I started writing a few. I had a couple of friends already. I was managing a few artists here and there and stuff, growing things. And already, I'm a composition, very kusegazini, because my mom is an English literature teacher, so the English just flows. So
Yeah.
got the laptop, typed out a few things, Then a friend of mine that I was pushing his stuff, he was a senior at Plumtree. His name was Simba Bako. Most of you know him as Mr. Cole Products. He was from the group called Cole Product. Moki Sage.
Yeah.
Moki Sage gets into a conversation. They opened up for 50 Cent, by the way. When 50 Cent came to South Africa, they opened up. That's how big they were. They had this video where Joburg was snowing. So I was pushing his things in Zim. And then one thing led to another. I got a call from, actually my aunt got a call because I didn't have the phone at the time. She got a call and she was like, kule kiwa ile kati kule khuluma lami lapha. Anzi from South Africa. And that's how that went. Those guys just looked for me. They needed a story from Zimbabwe about hip hop. He suggested they talk to me. I wrote my first story. And from then onwards, they just started asking for more content. And before I know it, I was made an employee or one of the contributors. And the first check came. That was like 2,100 rands, you know.
Yeah.
And back then, like 2009, 8, somewhere there, that was a lot of money, man.
Man, yeah.
So when I showed my mom, that was like, yo, hip hop yami, you know, my hip hop, this is the check, you know, and these groceries came from this check, you know what I mean? And then Hype magazine was this glossy magazine. So when I gave her the magazine and then she saw my face in it, she became a believer. It's like, oh, okay. So this is what you do. You know,
Yeah.
she's looking at the magazine and she's looking at the picture and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, this one is from America. This one is from South. This one is from, you're excited because I got to interview people that I can only dream of, meeting in real life. And I got interviewed Dead Prez, bruh. How many people can say that? And I grew up listening to that. I got to listen to the guy who did the song for Kanye West, the Power song. He's called S1. He's a Grammy award winner. I interviewed Jack Knight. Jack Knight is a songwriter for Bad Boys. Like the guy who wrote Wonke Lava, I need a girl to ride, all those Biggie songs and stuff, people that I could only dream of, and Hype gave me that platform, and I ran with it, man. Ran with it for a couple of years, and it just changed the way I understood what hip hop was, because I could see that I could make something out of this. I could really do something. They even suggested, yo, why don't you go to school, do journalism and stuff and whatnot. But I was already doing electronics communication, so I needed to finish that first, then get onto the next thing. So that's how I got onto it, because our website was popping. It is probably one of the first websites that is hip hop related to ever come out of Zimbabwe. We were so consistent like that. We got invited to Oshoko Festival, Haifa, all that jazz. We were in there, so it was really dope.
You've done so many things, so I would try and skip because of our time. And then now let's talk about the rap battles and what they've done for the game, the DGV rap battles.
Yeah, man. We had to come up with new, exciting ways. The battling scene with Smack URL was getting big, and it was something that we were already, watching. And I would notice that after every show we were doing at the floor sessions, which were the first, sort of platforms before Bigger Than Hip Hop took it to the next level. People would cipher at the end and sort of battle. That was always what was happening. Almost at every end of the show, you would see people battling and ciphering and stuff. So we decided, you know what, let's create a platform where we put this as the center stage, and also bring some new excitement to hip hop, because artists just getting there on the mic and rapping, and sometimes it's not our cars. But I'm a battles, just people going at it. Somehow it's interesting. It's got this comedic side to it. It's got this intricate flows thing, whatnot. It's just nice sometimes. It's entertaining. So that's how we got into battles. We took the money, obviously, from the Grapevine clothing. We got some cameras, and we started filming just like that. Shout out to Twarelo Montobe, Twari. Those were the first people that saw this dream through. Prozac was also there. Mandla, the comedian, he was also battling as well. Bo Young Tyrant, they were also there. Kelvin was one of those guys who was always there at these battles. If you look in the footage, he was always there watching, man.
Yeah.
Poi used to come out as well. Asaph won a couple of tournaments there. Shout out to Spliffer Ray as well. He also won a tournament as well. So we were bringing the artists on the forefront, but in a different way,
Yeah.
as unlike what most people were used to. We're just bringing back that excitement, and it's still there. We're still going. We went to Bots, Lesotho. We're supposed to go to Ghana. It's really growing. We're bringing in new artists, new guys. Hopefully, we'll even turn it into a whole TV show next year, and yeah, and take it to the next level. But it really helped also in having the grapevine clothing image out there as well, because well, I'm always wearing my grapevine anyway, and
Yeah.
it also helped me get into the TV scene with the Hip Hop 263 platform that I then created after hanging with Trey Movie and stuff, who was already a filmmaker. So we ended up being on TV, and we started showing these rap battles on TV, ZTV. And you'll be shocked that a lot of people that you thought don't like hip hop were actually commenting about hip hop and saying, "Yo, I'm a battles, those guys are too guys."
Nice.
Excited.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh, I don't know if you remember, but I met you for the first time on one of those battles
Okay.
at Art Gallery.
Art gallery, yes, at the art
I
gallery.
don't remember who were the artists that were there, but I remember this one person really vividly. That was what's his name? This comedian, Clive Chikubu.
Oh, Clive, yes,
Clive
yeah.
Chikubu was still new on the scene. I think there was nothing that I've seen of Clive anywhere else, but he did a 15-minute set
Yes,
and he left the crowd on the floor. And
yes.
yeah,
Because the whole idea was we had this whole spoken word theme. So Clive
yeah,
hosted a couple of our battles because really me and Clive we just vibe, and Clive is just funny, and I
yeah,
loved the way he hosted. And because comedy session then were not as big as they are now, but
yeah,
I had already seen internationally, Def Comedy Jam, how the comedy and hip hop always seem to come together. So I was
yeah,
like, why not get a comedian to make fun of us and be entertaining
yeah,
whilst he is also showcasing his skills and putting hip hop in a different light. My thing has always been to put hip hop in a light that a lot of people wouldn't think it is about. A lot of people
yeah,
just think it's about guns and twerking and naked people and stuff. But there's a lot of, words being spoken, lyricism, art, creative. It's just too much that you
yeah.
can. We even had beat battles, by the way. Yeah, where producers beat battle. They'll bring in their beats and they'll battle against each other as well. We wanted to showcase the producers because there's too much talent as well. So those were some of the things we're incorporating into the rap battles and making it the ultimate hip hop event. That's what we wanted to do. But yeah, that was the whole thing with that.
Yeah, all right. In the last few years, you then decided to be behind the mic, not emceeing, not on radio, but to work on something as a solo artist.
Yeah.
How was that experience of trying to then be the one who's singing now, and how did that project go about?
I think for me, I always find it hard to be in the spotlight most of the times and to really focus on me. I find it easy to focus on other people, and I'm so judgmental. I judge myself. I really like look at myself like, yo, can I do this? Because I know so much, and it's easy to see where am I doing good, where am I doing bad. I should have done this better and whatnot. Because naturally, when it comes to curatorship and just watching and adding value to other people, it comes easy. But for me to just get there, and I used to freestyle back then. Katesi, yeah, it's a hustle to think. Okay, so right, what am I supposed to do? When you start thinking about such things, the zone, man, you're not in that zone.
Yeah,
So, but then I always had a dream to release something. I always wanted to work and show people like how it's supposed to be done, how to work at it and whatnot. But I'm probably one of the worst people in looking in really bringing out content. I've got a lot of unreleased material, and I think I work with too many perfectionist people. Compo doesn't release things.
Yeah.
It takes forever for him to get out. But yeah, I did do a couple of tracks. I even worked with Just Farai on a bunch of lovey-dovey R&B hip-hop-ish tracks already. I think they're on my website. You can download them for free. But yeah, most of the stuff is actually unreleased. So
All right.
maybe I might just sit down and be like, you know what, let me do this once and for all and get it out of the way.
Yeah, yeah, all right. And you with so many caps in so many departments, 2020 came and you've decided to finish off or to write Selling Out, which is the book
Yeah,
that you've just released. Maybe you do have the book with you.
yeah, man. The
Yeah,
book is right here.
yeah.
Selling
Selling
out
out
without selling
without
out.
selling out. All right. Yeah. So what was the inspiration and what is this book about?
Right. So the inspiration came one day when, we're having these discussions and arguments and stuff, and people were like, yo, Riz, been in this game 15 years ago. You don't have a car, you don't have a house. Where did you go wrong? Because every time I'm conversating with these people in the States and they look at my CV and what I've done and what I can do, they're like, so, bro, you must be rich. How many minds do you have?
Yeah.
Because when they look at what I can do, my capabilities and what I've done, websites and writing and TV and radio, online, Jamaican stuff, UK, they're like, dude, if you were here just for 6 months, we'll be rolling, man. So what's wrong? So I figured we need to find a way of passing down the information to the next people so that they don't become like me at freaking 36 and you're still trying to buy a car.
Yeah.
I had to be real with it. I had to get to a certain point where I'm like, if ever the rappers that are out there, like right now, like 2020 has probably brought the dopest, man, the rap out there, the music, the quality, the visuals. These people are really putting in work. They are really putting in work, and it will be a waste if they don't drive Lamborghinis because, hey, it ends up being a career at some point, and your
Yeah.
family got to eat too. We've got to be real. You've got to eat too. For you to carry on churning out hits, you need to be in a motivated state as well, as an artist, as a choreographer or video guy or whatnot. There's no one who stays doing something that's got no benefit. Eventually that love starts to fade at some point.
Yeah.
So this is what the book is about. It's my 15 years in the game, my experiences as an artist, my experiences as a manager, working with Poi, working with Mac, Maestro IV, all these artists, taking them to radio, uh, uh, taking them from being new artists to being established artists to having them run their own studios, and having them being the people that they are now. How I managed to finance some of the projects that I do, from clothing and whatnot. How we managed to work with club DJs using my radio knowledge. I can give you that information, using my 15 years of being part of all these different facets, from TV to radio to everything that I've done that we've been talking about. I needed to make sure that that information trickles down. So the book is about airplay. As an artist, you want to get heard. That's the first thing. When you do a track, you want to be heard. You want people to listen to you. So how do you get your song onto radio? And radio is no longer just taking it to Power FM or ZFM and whatnot. Radio now is even iTunes, Spotify, podcasts, and all these other
Exactly.
different platforms. So we're educating each other how to do that. And at the end of the day, how are you going to be sustainable doing that? How are you
Yeah.
going to make a living and be able to do it again even kusasa? Be happy to do it kusasa. Don't be frustrated and be frustrated to the point Ebo Love Moma Jaiva in a way he was pouring out dope music, timeless hits, but the people were not supporting.
Yeah.
You see? Yeah. So now we're trying to find avenues of saying, how can you carry on selling out shows, selling out CDs, merchandise. Remember, this is using your brand as an artist, merchandise, shows, CDs, and all these other extra talents that you have, even doing voiceover work, even doing, you've seen the whole Boondocks thing where they use actual artists to do voiceovers. You can do jingles, you can do, and you are not selling out your identity. You are
Yep.
keeping to your identity, your image, your lifestyle. You're being you. You're being RIZLA, the guy with the cap. You're being that
Yep.
MC and whatnot. But you're finding a way to make it make sense. Sense that in at the end of the day are going to allow you to carry on with the passion. I actually believe, Wuti, a passion needs to be fueled over and over. You
Yep.
have it, yes. You have it. You love hip hop, you whatnot. But is it so hard for for you to be able to live off what you love? That's the question. You know, a lot of people, and it's a dream for most. Not many people get to be the doctors and dentists and whatnot that they want to be. It's a dream for many. But now that your dream was being a rapper or being a choreographer or being a whatever you want to be, can you make a living out of it? So because my background is hip hop, my life has been using all these hip hop things around, all these hip hop opportunities that have come to carry on doing what I love. And that's being consistent in hip hop. Because hip hop for me, that's my first love. And I want to carry on doing it. So if I can share some blueprints of how you can do your own artwork at pump price, how you can put your music onto iTunes for almost no money. There's platforms where you can put on your music for no money at all, and you can also pay. And some platforms make more sense if you're in Africa, some make more sense if you're in the UK and stuff. Some ideas of how music royalties, rights, and stuff. We talk about that. Samro, Zimra, Zimura, all that stuff. We talk and we try and open up your mind, your approach. How do you think? How are you approaching this? Remember, you are a business, you are an
Yep.
entity. How are you going to make something out of this? The products that you do, the services, all that is in there. Why is your music not being played in the clubs? Have you ever asked yourself that? You know, is it beneficial for you to take your song and put it onto someone else's YouTube channel? What are the advantages and disadvantages of doing that? And what's the advantage of you doing your own t-shirts and merchandise? And how can you grow your merchandise beyond the table into the income stream that it can be? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because when people buy into your brand as ASAF, they will buy into everything else that you co-sign and you're affiliated with. So how do you then find a way of being the king of your own empire? I'm trying to make sure that people become kings and queens and not second grade because the manager is doing this and whatnot. No, you should know what your manager is supposed to do. You should know
Yep.
why you are having a manager and why you are having all these things in place. Why is it important to have a website and stuff like that? So this is the book, man. I go through it step by step. I talk of there's more income streams actually. I think more in the book because I'm more concerned about
Yeah.
people finding ways to monetize what they are doing and monetize it in a natural way. Yeah. So
Nice.
I could probably go on and on, but
Yeah. Where do people get this book and how much is it going for?
right. At the moment, you can go to my website, which is www.iamnabothrizla.com. Right.
Uh-huh.
The book is going for $15 US dollars if you're in Zimbabwe. Reason being, I'm going to be using Federal Express, FedEx, to get this book straight to you. I want to autograph every book.
Okay.
I want that personal touch. I want you to touch that book and get back to actually learning and using it as a textbook. It should be a textbook. Would write, right? Okay, I've done this. Right, let's try this strategy here. Or it's supposed to add on. It's not like you don't have ideas. You're already growing. You're already progressing. But there's certain things in here that probably you didn't know about, or probably you can do better, or you can add on. So
Okay.
this is the reason why we want to give you AMA copies. In Zim at the moment, it's going for 15 US, but they are special. Like in every city, we started in Wange and Vic Falls, because obviously I'm closer there. We'll be having $10 specials, right? Because I can get people to make the payment, then they give me their addresses, then I just send a couple of books to one location, then they go and they pick them up. So obviously the transport is what is reduced. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And then so doing that for different cities, Gatesi, it's Wange and Vic Falls until Friday. The next week we'll do with another city, maybe Gweru or Harare and whatnot, because not everyone can afford. But at the same time, it's at that price because you need to invest in yourself. If I give you this for free, you'll think it's worthless. But
Yeah,
if you
true.
pay for it, you will treasure it and you'll
Yeah.
keep it safe,
Yeah.
and you really try out some of these things to prove whether or not this book works. You see,
Oh,
so,
nice.
and we've also got international transactions via PayPal. All these details are on the website. So you just go to imnabothrizla.com. We're selling on EcoCash, Telecash, all these local things because I really want people in Zimbabwe to get it. And
All
we're
right.
hoping to do, if there's anyone out there that want to partner with me to do workshops all around the country, we talk about music, we educate the masses, and we find ways of making sure that the next generation doesn't go through what we've gone through, that we start building and also helping out and into the whole country economics in terms of GDP. I know
Yeah.
it sounds crazy and whatnot, but it's something that we need to do as Zimbabweans to be part of the country and to add on from the arts that we are already part of.
Yeah.
And these are serious income earners for the country, and we need to find ways. We need to be clever and to educate the next peeps because each one teach one, reach one. You know the story, man.
Yeah.
We've got to pass on this knowledge to the next peeps. So the blueprint is right here. If you are trying to build your career,
Yeah.
yeah, man. But it was such a labor of love. It took me 2 years. Should have been out in 2018. But
Yeah.
it's always hard to write the first book.
Yeah.
I'm already on the second book and trying to add on so many things. And it was self-published. So obviously there was a lot. But shout out to Tatenda who helped me out, man. He really helped me out in terms of putting it all together and to stick to the deadlines as well. Because
Yeah.
it gets crazy.
Yeah.
It gets
Nice. There you have it, Pips. Let's support. First of all, we are supporting NABOTH for supporting the game for a long time, and it's not only supporting it for the sake of supporting it, but we're getting something out of it. So he's not just asking for your $15, but he's giving nuggets of wisdom in the book. So I hope people will go out there and search for it. And then maybe to round up, if you're going to change just one thing, particularly on the hip hop scene, what would that be?
I think this is what this book is here, man. If I could change, I would change the way people think. It's one of the first things I talk about in the book. It's called the approach. The way
Yeah.
we approach music and not look at it as a business and whatnot. If I could change that mindset, if I could change that, I think we would be very far. Because people think you just go to the studio, you do your WhatsApp song, you just share it on WhatsApp and you're done. That's killing what other people are doing for a living. They're giving it out for free, other people are trying to live. So it definitely kills everything else. So this is what the whole idea is about. For me, if I could change people's mindset and if I could do it, I'm trying to do it in this book. Hopefully, if you can go through it, it's one of the first chapters, the way you see things as an artist. We really need to see things different. We need to value ourselves. And we need to appreciate the fact that you don't just start off as an expert. You need to grow. Go through the steps. Go through everything. Learn as well. Try and be that one person that wants to learn.
Yeah.
Always hungry for that knowledge. Trying to get better at it.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Do It All, Mr. Kelvin, he was always trying to get it done, bro. If we can have that mindset and have that catalog and have that quality, we would be very far. Very, very far.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for your time, man. It was a pleasure having you on the show after trying so many times.
Hey, thanks for not giving up, man. But hey,
Yeah.
They say all good things come to those who wait. So hey, it means this is a nugget, man. This is a jewel.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
thanks for
thank you so much. That was RIZLA, the hip hop plug in the country, and he's doing a lot of stuff. We couldn't talk about it on the show. Radio shows in Jamaica, radio shows in the UK, radio
yeah,
station. Yeah, all the best, man. We thought you're doing, and I hope that we get to support everything that you're doing because you are doing it for us. You are playing our stuff on those platforms.
yeah.
Thank you so much for that, man. That was King Boaz, earGROUND. I'm out.